I think that there was an issue with the software, and I'm not sure exactly why, but hopefully, well, anyway, it's Wednesday night, a little surprise. Last night we did a surprise live stream, and I was not able to keep it going. For some reason, the internet kept bugging out. And now tonight, we'll see if it happens. Okay, I've got nobody on, but one thumbs up. Okay, I'm not sure how that's possible, but okay, now it's one thumbs up, now it's 0 thumbs up. Okay, couple people joining, wonderful. I don't know if this is going to hold because I've already bombed out 2 or 3 times, and if this holds, then maybe we can get something accomplished tonight. I don't know. Hello, everybody. Dale, Darius, Sandy's, okay. Well, the crew is starting to pour in, and thank you very much. I don't know exactly what the issue is, and it's kind of a craziness because the internet's just going to bomb out. So if we bomb out again tonight, if we're talking and I can't connect anymore, then please forgive me. I'll try to work out the reason why I'm having these problems. And then by Friday for sure, we'll have it fixed by then. I have confidence because we've been live streaming for a year, right? And so, I mean, this is ridiculous, why all of a sudden something's different. But one of the things I did was, okay, I restarted, but a private live stream. And when I did the private live stream, it didn't bomb out right away. So then I don't know if that reset something or what, but now I'm back to doing a public. And so when I have to click on the public, that's when all of you can join in. So thank you very much for joining. Enough of that business, but if we do bomb out, just accept my apologies now, and then maybe we can make it up later. I wanted to cover at least a few of the questions answered or questions asked last night to see if we can get it covered. So first of all, there was a question. We were talking about disasters and what I've been faced with so many disasters in fish keeping, things that just go, and maybe in your mind you're thinking of a blown out tank, and that's not what I mean by explosion. I've never had a blown out tank, and some people have had blown out tanks. Now, one time I remember I thought I was going to have a blown out tank, and that was because the actual tank was not really an aquarium. It was a terrarium. And if you're ever wondering what's the difference, it's the thickness of the glass. So if you get an aquarium that looks like an aquarium and it's made for reptiles, you may be surprised that once you get the water in it and it's under the stress of that much water, you'll find that the front of your tank, the glass, will begin to bend. And so if you see any of this odd bending, then you'll know that it really wasn't designed to hold water. It was designed to hold in a lizard or snake or something of a reptile nature, maybe some amphibious. And of course they make it waterproof because that's why, you might be wanting to put some frogs, and they need to have a wet environment. So that's one thing to be watchful. I did have one like that, and I remember it was a big tank, but I used it anyway, and I just had a bunch of grow outs in it. The other thing is, if it's too big or long of a tank, and there's a crossbar across the top, in other words, the crossbar has to be there. It's designed that way. It needs to have that. If you ever get a tank and the crossbar has been broken off or it's no longer there, buyer beware, that's not a tank to get for the purpose of fish. If you want to get it for reptiles, fine, but it's just one of those things where if you're going to get a tank and you want it to last, you want it to hold your fish, you don't want that particular tank. So sometimes a freebie isn't so free after all when you consider the consequences or what is actually in the end. So what's another really type of catastrophe? Well, I'm going to answer that in number 2, a second type of catastrophe. is actually the catastrophe of die out when you have limited numbers of fish. So, for example, may I mention, for example, a a type of fish that you're interested in breeding? Okay. Um, yeah, exactly, Jeff. Some of those tanks were really sketchy. Yeah, they were like, this kind of wondering if they're going, you kind of cross your fingers every day and just hope it's there intact when you come back. But I had it in the garage, so I wasn't too worried. Cement floor, water would just, come down the driveway. It wasn't really big of a deal. But if you're in your home, that's another story, right? So I've got some tea tonight. I was just trying to relax. It's been a pretty harsh few weeks. Things have happened. There was having a number of issues with some of my breeders, and that is because I wasn't paying attention. Normally, it's always that you're never paying attention, and so in my mind, I started losing. Whenever I lose a fish, I look and see what is the reason. And so I start losing one fish, then two fish, and then three fish, and it's like, what's going on here? So you have to know the reason. But these are adult fish, not fry. Sometimes fry are hard to keep alive. Sandy, I'm sorry. It's just the nature of fry growing up. But when it comes to an adult fish, there's really got to be a good reason for it to die at that point because it's already lasted and already grown up. But I'm talking about, okay, when one fish dies, I usually take note and I change, the water. Start changing water because I don't know, maybe it's a pH crash, maybe it's something. If my pH meter is right there, I might test it, right? So those are things that you might look for initially. But when you see, and I start losing fish, and I started noticing that the fish are not really getting full. They're getting skinnier and skinnier, although they're eating more and more. And to me, that means there's a parasite. It could be worms. It could be something going on with the fish. So that's when, okay, we're going to do a quick treatment. We put Prozi. I use this product, Prozi. Let's see if I can pull this out. Really good, Prozi Pro. This is good stuff because it treats external, but it also is good for flukes. And if they have flukes, which means sometimes they're going to affect the gills, you might see breathing issues. But in my case, I didn't see those kinds of issues, nor did I see any worm sticking out of the anus, which tells me that very likely it could be camelinus worms. However, it could be another kind of worm, right? So it's going to be on the inside. So if that's the case, then a good dewormer is good. There's bendazole. I don't have any of that right now, but I do have levamisole, hydrochloride. That is something it's a sheep dewormer, cattle dewormer. It's very effective, and it will knock out camelinus worms if used 4 times the strength of what they normally recommend for just general deworming. I've never lost a fish when I've put more of the levamisole in the tank. The fish do get affected. They have paralysis of the digestion or digestive tract. It causes paralysis of the worms, and that's how they get unhooked and they get expelled. But at 4 times the strength, it usually is